Hello, I'm Lisa, and I'm the Executive Director here at the Mini Time Machine Museum of Miniatures. And I'm going to share a storybook with you this morning called Corduroy. It's a book by Don Freeman, and I'm going to read it to you in front of our miniature Farrows department store. Let's begin. Corduroy is a bear who once lived in the toy department of a big store. Day after day, he waited with all the other animals and dolls for somebody to come along and take him home. The store was always filled with shoppers buying all sorts of things, but no one ever seemed to want a little bear in green overalls. Then one morning, a little girl stopped and looked straight into Corduroy's bright eyes. "Oh, Mommy," she said, "look, there's the very bear I've always wanted." "Not today, dear," her mother sighed. "I've spent too much already. Besides, he doesn't look new. He's lost the button on one of his shoulder straps." Corduroy watched them sadly as they walked away. "I didn't know I'd lost a button," he said to himself. "Tonight I'll go and see if I can find it." Late that evening, when all the shoppers had gone and the doors were shut and locked, Corduroy climbed carefully down from his shelf and he began searching everywhere on the floor for his lost button. Suddenly, he felt the floor moving under him. Quite by accident, he had stepped onto an escalator and up he went. Could this be a mountain, he wondered? I think I've always wanted to climb a mountain. That would be exciting, wouldn't it? He stepped off the escalator as it reached the next floor, and there before his eyes was the most amazing sight. Tables and chairs and lamps and sofas and rows of beds. "This must be a palace," Corduroy gasped. "I guess I've always wanted to live in a palace." He wandered around admiring the furniture. "This must be a bed," he said. "I've always wanted to sleep in a bed." And up he crawled onto a thick, large mattress. All at once he saw something small and round. "Why, here's my button," he cried. And he tried to pick it up, but like all the other buttons on the mattress, it was tied down tight. Do you see him pulling at it? He yanked and he pulled with both paws until, pop, off came the button and off the mattress Corduroy toppled, bang onto a tall floor lamp. Over it fell with a crash. Corduroy didn't know it, but there was somebody else awake in the store. The night watchman was going his rounds on the floor above, and when he heard the crash, he came dashing down the escalator. "Now, who in the world did that?" he exclaimed. "Somebody must be hiding around here." He flashed his light under the sofas, the beds, until he came to the biggest bed of all, and there he saw two fuzzy brown ears sticking up from under the cover. "Hello," he said. "How did you get upstairs?" The watchman tucked Corduroy under his arm and carried him down the escalator, and he set him on the shelf in the toy department with the other animals and dolls. He looks pretty sleepy after his adventure, doesn't he? Corduroy was just waking up when the first customer came into the store in the morning, and there, looking at him with a wide, warm smile, was the same little girl he had seen only the day before. "I'm Lisa," she said, "and you're going to be my very own bear. Last night I counted what I've saved in my piggy bank, and my mommy said I could bring you home." "Shall I put him in a box for you?" the sales lady asked. "Oh, no, thank you," Lisa answered, and she carried Corduroy home in her arms. She ran all the way up 4 flights of stairs into her family's apartment and straight to her own room. Corduroy blinked, There was a chair and a chest of drawers, and alongside a girl-sized bed stood a little bed just the right size for him. The room was small, nothing like the enormous palace in the department store. "This must be home," he said. "I know I've always wanted a home." Lisa sat down with Corduroy on her lap and began to sew a button on his overalls. "I like you the way you are," she said, "but you'll be more comfortable with your shoulder strap fastened." "You must be a friend," said Corduroy. "I've always wanted a friend." "Me too," said Lisa, and she gave him a big hug. The end. Today, many of us shop for our things online, but before there was online shopping, the best place to get most of your things was at the mall. But even before there were big malls, there were usually department stores like Farrows, and they usually had 3 or 4 different floors on them. And so you'd go in the store and you'd see one department downstairs, maybe the furniture like we heard in the story, and then you'd go to the next level and maybe there would be all the supplies that you could get for your kitchen. And then maybe at the top floor would be where all the children's clothes and children's toys would be found, just like the story of Corduroy. Have you ever visited a department store? And do you live in a warm or a cold climate? If you live in a cold climate, you might go through the front door that has a revolving door made of glass. You step into one section and you push the glass to get inside, and that keeps the store from getting cold in the wintertime. This department store, Farrows, must be from a cold climate because it has a revolving door. It doesn't have an escalator like the story of Corduroy, but it does have an elevator to move you from floor to floor. In the first floor, we have jewelry and household items. In the second floor, we have an ice cream parlor, and in the third floor, we have furniture. At the very top, we have the toy store.